Good afternoon, class. Last time we have completed our unit number 1. Right, so we are starting with unit 2 now. The title of the unit is Technical Writing. So writing is an important aspect and has a great importance when paired with technology and technical description in professional lives. Right, so today's our topic from unit number 2, technical description, is technical description from the unit 2, technical writing. So if you can see, there are two words, technical and description. So how do you work technically and describe a thing, right? So describing means you have to give details, and when it is technical, it should be more details, more descriptive and minute details to be covered. So what exactly is technical description? Like definitions, description answer the question, what is it? But they also give additional information to help readers visualize what exactly is been described, right? So the way you define an object, description is more additional information about the object or the process which talks to you about the detailing of any object or process. Technical description is a important part of any technical document. Why? Because it defines the object or the process. It actually simplifies a complex topic and divides it into different portions, so it's easy for anybody to understand the same. Basically it would try and help you out by going element wise or point wise to describe an object. So it could be describing an object, you can also describe a process, or you can describe a concept as well. There are two types of description, technical descriptions. One, product description. Two, process description. One, product description, and two, process description. So what is product description? Product description describes what the product or the item is like. Product description describes what the product or the item is like. Let's say when you go to a mobile shop to buy a mobile phone, you read the descriptor about the product. You read what is the memory, what is the camera, like what's the memory storage, how much is expandable, what is the screen size, what are the different aspects that makes it a mobile which is different from the rest of the mobiles, etc. That is called product description. It is for made for people who want to use that particular product. Now I'll give an example where we can all connect. In the initial days, maybe your childhood or young adult days when you were in 10th 12th, there used to be this huge booklets that come along with products you buy. Let's say you have bought a new television. So you have a thick booklet which shows that if it's a green color plug, you plug in this wire, remote buttons, the small diagrams, they'll tell you that this is how it will work, the working of that product. That is what we can call as product description. It is one of the examples for product description. Now, the second type is the process description. Remember, in the product, the item is described. In the process description, how it works is described. That is the working of something. Right? Let's say we in the subjects of science in school, we always had this draw the water cycle, explain the water cycle. So what is it, how it works? Maybe let's take an example of how does a uh, engine work in terms of engineering. So a two-stroke engine and the working of a two-stroke engine. Or maybe how does a lever work or a pulley work in case of civil engineering, right? So something like that, the process. Now, process description for people who want to know how. Remember, product description is for the people who want to use the product. Process description is for people who want to know how things work. Product description, you are supposed to describe products or items. Process description, you have to describe a process. So, we have a reconnecting question over here. Dash describes what the item is like. You can type your answers in the chat box. Very good. Three quick answers. Product description. You are all the three of you are absolutely correct. Kush, Abhinav, and Meet. Your answer is correct. Product description. Now, elements of a good description. Elements of a good description. So, how do you describe a product, or how do you describe a process? The elements remain the same. The details inside the elements would differ little. So let's say the first element that you should have in your description would be a title, a clear and a limiting title. The title should promise exactly what the description will deliver. Right? Let's say there are two titles over here. Title number 1 says BMW safety first. So we are trying to describe a car, an item, a product. Right? What if I give a title like BMW safety first? See, for some of us, the title seems to be clear, it's limited, it's not very big, right? But see, there is so much of unclarity here. Why? Let's say, what kind of safety are we talking about? Are we talking about the airbags? Are we talking about the tires? Are we talking about the internal functions, auto lock systems of the door? Right? That is also a part of safety. Are we talking about alerts that you get in the car when you have not put on your seatbelt, or when uh, the lid of the diesel uh, where you refill the diesel is open? Or what safety are we talking about? And in case We're talking about it. Are we talking about all of BMW's products, or is it any one specific car? Right. So that's a little unclarity when I write the title as BMW Safety First. Now, how can I make it more clear? So, if you see the title 2, how BMW's anti-lock braking system works, and this is clear. This braking system means the system of brakes is similar in all of the cars. Right, what has been upgraded would be maybe the interiors, maybe more facilities with the airbags, etc. So this is little clearer than the first example of a title that we have. Now, because it is a title, you cannot have sentences. You should have just a few words. By few words, I'm saying 6 to 8 words at the maximum in the title. Right? So the title should be clear. It should clearly deliver things, and it should be limited. You cannot have long and lengthy titles. Then the level of details that you give should be appropriate. Now see here again, we have got two examples. One where you have little less low details, and the second one you have an overflow of details. In the first picture, if you see, they have just labeled the parts of the phone, and in the second picture you can see there is little detail for everything. Right now, nowadays we don't get this booklets with our products that we buy. Now we get leaflets. Leaflet is a small little pamphlet, two-sided is the maximum print. And otherwise, we used to get a huge thick book, each part explained and all. That's too much. And if you see the first diagram, it is too little. So we neither need too much nor do we need too little. So what can we do in that case? So in that case, we need to maintain a balance. Neither too less nor too more. Moderate amount of information so that the person who's going to read it is not burdened with unnecessary information. We want him to just read information that he or she can relate to, the reader or the user who's going to read the details for this. Right? So we need appropriate balance of details, neither too less nor too more. Next, we need to illustrate with the help of visuals. Most of us have answered or written answers for questions that say explain process X with an appropriate diagram. And this is what we are talking here about, a diagram, visual. Why visuals? Human beings are naturally attracted towards diagrams. It does not mean that we just have a diagram and no writing at all. Then the diagram becomes confusing. So instead of only a diagram or only words, we combine the two. The both words and diagrams would help the reader to understand better. So for the process of better understanding, we should have diagrams. Next, appropriate and clear sequence. Another word for sequence could be chronology, arranging in proper order. Arranging information in proper order. Now, if you can see the diagram that has been given, you see there's an order in which it is moving 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last part. Why a proper order? If you do not have a proper order, it will become chaotic. and we cannot remember or recollect the information if it is chaotic or if it is not ordered and sequenced properly. Right? We want the readers to remember the information. We don't want them to feel that the information is more complex. Remember, technical descriptions are given so that complex information can be simplified and arranged in proper sequence. So go in order, either ascending or descending. So from top to bottom or bottom to top, you can arrange the information. Let's say we have taken an example of an aeroplane where we have started describing from the cockpit area. Like we move to the cockpit, then to the uh, aeroplane wings, then we go on to the blowers, then to the engine, and then to the last portion of the aeroplane. What if I begin with the engine and then go to the cockpit, then go to the last part, then go to the luggage part? See, it will not help me visualize the aeroplane. Most of us have seen it, right? Most of us know many names, or we know how it is divided. What is what? This is the cockpit where the pilot sits. This is the area where the passengers sit. This is the area where the luggage is stored. This is the part of the plane which helps it to fly, etc. Right? So how do we know it? Because we have an idea. The cockpit is in the front. It is never at the back of the aeroplane. Right? Similarly, when you are technically describing any object, because we have here taken a simple object where most of us have seen it, heard about it, or had a look at a picture of it. Right? So now if you go to more complex examples, at that time it would be more confusing. For us, this example is simple because we have been accustomed to it. If you go back to smaller kids, smaller children, let's take example of somebody, a child who is in who's just 6 7 years old. For him, if you say engine and all, then the person gets, or the kid gets confused. You have to begin with, so this is called the cockpit. It's in the very front of the aeroplane, so the child can visualize in the front it should be like this, the passengers, the sitting is like this, etc. Right? So that is why it is very important to maintain chronology and order uh, when we are describing any object or any process. Right? Then you have to describe the function of it. Function is how does it work. Right? Let's say I want to switch on the computer. I want to start this lecture. Right? So how do I do it? I first have to press the power button to my computer, which will, when I press the power button, my computer will boot. So when it's booting, it is doing its own process for me to start the computer. It is now doing a process. Right? Internal process happens. Now the computer starts. Then I need an internet connectivity. I connect to internet. Then I need a platform where I can connect with you. That is, I sign into Zoom. I create a meeting link, and that's it. No, I have to then send the meeting link to you. You accept the meeting link. You click on it. Then I have to admit you to the meeting room. Then you can join me, and then we can start the lecture. The functioning, right? So from the minutest of the things, you need to have a proper mentioning of things, right? You cannot assume that the reader will understand. This is very small. He or she can understand this. No, you are supposed to assume that the readers are not understanding a simple thing. Let's say we cannot even tell them that by pressing the button down, it will switch on. You have to even describe that as well. Right? That is what technical descriptions are meant for. That's the only reason we have technical descriptions. Right? So from the minutest of the detail to the most complex ones, you're supposed to explain the functioning. So when you press the button, the drill moves, the motor starts, etc. Whatever comes in order, the order in which the part functions is what you are supposed to look into. Next, you are supposed to maintain a chronology. Chronology means the sequence. Why the sequence is to be maintained? It's something like getting your education. You can never say that first I'll finish eighth semester of engineering because it is project work and I like project. Then I'll come and give the theory exam for semester one and two. It moves in an order, right? Even if you see your subjects, the complexity of the subjects becomes more and more once you advance to higher semesters. The project work that you do in your final semester is actually the practical application of the theories that you have learned in the previous semesters, right? I appreciate some people do some things like that, that they can skip a few years and they can do their research work, but then there is an order to it. You cannot first take a semester exam, then come back and give first semester. Now you are happy with about it, you go and give the sixth semester. It does not happen like that. There's a particular order maintained. Similarly, for processes that happen and the products, there's an order that you need to maintain. You cannot randomize the order. The reason being, it is actually a connecting dot. So you cannot just connect it randomly anywhere. Let's say you take any process that happens. uh, let's take an example from your department, building a house or a building. Can you start building the roof first? Okay, let the roof go. I don't want to build the roof, I want to build the second floor of the house first. Then I'll go and build the foundation. Then maybe I'll build the roof, and if time is there, I'll build the first floor. No, they are different floors. Why can't we do that? We cannot, because each step of the process is interconnected. First, for any building, even if it is a small one story house or it's the largest or the tallest one with 24 stories, or sorry, 24 levels or stories, right? You, the very first step for building, any architectural uh, building, you need to dig the foundation. It starts from there. Even if it is a one floored house or it is 20 floored 23 24 floored flats, right? The very first thing that happens is you dig the foundation, because on the foundation the rest of the things will stand, right? So that is why it is very important to maintain the chronology. Chronology is the order. So now we have another reconnecting question which says, is the statement true or false? The title should promise exactly what the description will deliver. You can give your answers in the chat box. Excellent, Kush, Abhinav, Deepak, and Bhumi. The statement, as per your answer, is true or should be true. You are absolutely correct. It is true. Why? It's like the title reflects what the description will be, and that is why it should promise exactly what the description will deliver. You cannot deviate the title from the entire description. As I said, it has interconnection, it's an interconnected thing, it's linked with each other. Excellent job. So, what are the steps of technical description? Please remember this unit number 2 and unit number 3 have a good weightage in your examination. 45 percentage is the weightage out of 100 for this 2 units. So how do we write a technical description? So there are 4 steps to it. Step number 1, you have to name the object. You give it an identity. Step number 2, you have to assign meaning to the object. Step 3, you have to illustrate or give an illustration. And step number 4, you have to visualize, that is using graphics. We'll understand each step in detail. So step 1, naming. This is the most basic activity. It is actually the identity that we have given to each and everything, whether be it an object, a person, or a place. We identify it with names. If we would not have names, then we'll have to tell that big thing over there, or the blue little round thing, a red thing that we eat. That would be acceptable to some extent. You can accept it, but then it would increase the difficulty level of understanding. Let's say if I tell somebody, pass me that blue thing. What is blue? Am I supposed to pass a water bottle, a pencil, an eraser, a laptop, a cover? What? Right? So naming the object or the process is from where we begin. Why? Because without names, it would be hard to identify as well as distinguish objects. So we cannot begin anywhere else. We have to start with naming. Next, we have to define the project. We have to define the object or the process. So it should be formal in nature. So, and you have to first write a little generalized description, and then you can go down to the breakdown of the components. Let's say I'll take a simple example. I'm talking about a mouse, the mouse that we have with our computers. So I begin by writing that a mouse is an object that is related to computers. It could be a desktop, it could be a laptop, but the mouse is always there. You can have inbuilt mouse on your keypad, or you can have the extra one, the wired mouse. So that's a general. Then I can break down by telling that, okay, these are the different parts of the mouse. So you have a right click, you have a left click, you have a scroll button, you have a tracking ball, then you have a plastic cover casing for the mouse, and you can have internal circuits and a code and a plug-in wire that you plug into your laptop. So that's the breakdown, right? It should be written in paragraphs and should be written in a language that can be understood by the reader. So you cannot say it is a monochromatic circuit which has a lot of wiring on it. You can just simply say it's a circuit that enables the mouse to connect with the computer. Right? Because we are not supposed to complicate with the help of the description, we are supposed to simplify. Next, the visuals, the diagrams, or the graphics. The visuals, the diagrams, or the graphics. Now remember, as I said, a picture speaks 1,000 words, but pictures cannot take the place of words. They cannot replace words. What they can do is they can add more meaning to the words that you have written, right? So diagrams would be there so that the person can exactly see what to do. Let us take the example of this small Lego toys that you have. It has an instruction manual. Let's say you have an rectangular block, then you have a square block, join the red color block with the yellow colored one, etc. Right? Similarly, in science subjects, we might have studied different processes with the help of diagrams. Let's take an example from our subject itself. We had this process of communication. So we had a small diagram that would help us to explain what or which person is positioned where. Where is the sender? Where is the receiver? Who will encode? Who will decode? So it's easier for us to remember and recollect the information. Similarly, you have to give graphics and diagrams so that the audience can understand easily. Next is the description. The description, yes, Kush, you raised your hand. We have a question here.
Yes, ma'am. Are flowchart considering to diagrams and that category?
I did not get it. Can you please repeat your question, Kush?
Yes, ma'am. Are flowchart considering to that category? Previous one into diagrams and all that?
Yeah, you're talking about flow charts, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, flowcharts are also a part of graphics. The example that I'm
Okay.
giving, yeah, I'm giving for the process of communication because we've already drawn a diagram for it. It could be any process. Let's say you have a process for making a brick. You are civil engineers, right? There's a process. You mix the concrete and the sand, appropriate amount of water, right? So making a brick, then you have to hit it to some amount of heat, etc. Right? So what do? That's a process. So you draw a flow chart where you say step 1 concrete, step 2 you mix it with sand, step 3 you mix it with appropriate amount of water, then you put it into a mold which is going to give the shape to it. You let it dry and solidify, then you heat it in the burner or whatever process it would happen in that case, right? So a diagram that you draw, it could be a flow chart, it could be a diagram of the object, it could be a diagram of the process, right? Very nice question. So description, it is actually the crux of technical description. Exactly what you want to do is you are supposed to do over here. Let's say you are describing an object. So here you are supposed to give the entire details of it. Say part number A. Part A is the right click of a mouse. So what is the function of a right click? It actually helps control the cursor on the screen of the laptop. 1. 2. Right click is a rare click that we do. Mostly we would work with the left clicks of the mouse, right? So what does right click do? It gives you special functions. What does left click do? Left click helps you select objects, move objects, rename objects, etc. This is one example that I'm giving of a mouse which most of us use, right? So this description section is actually where you have to give all the details of the object or the process that you are describing. It works. All the hard work that you want to do would come over here, right? You can compare, you can contrast, but you have to go order wise. As I said, you have to define the order. So say I would start with the mouse casing. Casing is the plastic cover in which the hard cover in which the mouse is there. I can also write that the mouse is made to fit in the palms of a human being. It is made like that only. Then I will talk about the right click button, then I'll talk about the left click button, then I might talk about the scroll button, etc. Right? So that order you have to maintain. You cannot start with the left click, then go to the tracking ball where you have that red LED light happening when you shift your mouse. Then you come back to the scroll button, then you talk about the mouse plastic casing on the mouse. Then lastly you talk about you go and talk about the cord or the plug that you use to connect it to your computer. Then you said, oh, I forgot left click, right click description. Now I'll right click. No, it does not happen like that. It happens in the order in which it functions. So you can begin with the left click description, go to the right click, the scrolling, then the plastic casing, then the tracking ball which comes under, then the code and the plugin, the metal plugin that you have, so that it can be connected to your computers or your laptops, right? Decide an order. Either you go from top to bottom or bottom to top. So you can either begin with the left click or you can begin with the code. There's a wire which is there which connects your mouse to the computer, right? Either or. You cannot do it randomly. There's a way, there's a sequence to it which we need to follow. Then illustrations are similar to graphics. Now what can happen is graphics can happen only when you're using computers. Illustrations are something which we can draw. It may not exactly be the mouse that you use, but because we'll not be drawing a 3D diagram, right? We'll be drawing a 1D diagram, one dimensional. So it's a replication of it. Here it enhances the meaning of the words you are using. So that can be an illustration. You can divide the object and subdivide it. Let's say if I am a computer engineering student and I am describing a mouse, first I can discover what is visible to the human being. Then I can also describe what is not visible. That is inside the casing. What kind of circuit is there if I'm a computer engineer? Or if I have developed something new, a new kind of a mouse, then I can compare and tell that in the ones which came before this invention, they had this kind of a circuit. Mine has a different circuit, and this is the comparison, right? Here we can, let's say, talk about the different material that you use in construction in your case, right? Previously, there might be something different. Now, there have been changes, right? Does not mean that what was there before is completely 360-degree changed. Certain features are there from the past, but there are some things which are new. How can you tell what is new? By comparing it what was there and now how it has evolved. Let's say in the Stone Age, somebody suddenly decided that if the rocks are cut in round shapes, it is easier to transport things, using for transportation. If the wheel is not a square or a triangle or rectangle, and if it is a circle, it's easier. So they might have had stone tires, then moved on to something else, and now we have something else. Let's say when we used to have bicycles, we used to get the air refilled. You have a tire and a tube. Now you have tubeless tires, but the tire is still round, right? So you cannot have a 100% change or a 365-degree change in the new invention. Certain features which are there as the basics will remain there, but there would be certain changes that they have come that you can illustrate, that you can talk about, right? I remember there was an experiment which talks about the petroleum products being filtered. At some heat you will see that from the petroleum product, diesel separates, petrol separates. This big furnace teachers used to teach and draw, and we had these diagrams, right? But then you have a byproduct as well, right? But the input remains the same. That's a petroleum product. Petroleum bin introduced to high levels of heat, and then things happening, right? So the basics remain the same. What is new is what you can compare and contrast. That is how the working of these things would happen. When you describe a process, now whatever we were talking till now was for product description. Now when you describe a process, it is similar to what you do in product. Here also you have to go stepwise, in a sequence, in a chronology. Most of the processes are cyclic in nature. So it's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It completes, and then from 6 again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It moves in circular motions. So you cannot have 6, then 2, then 1, then 5. It should always go in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how it works. And then what happens at each stage? As I mentioned, this, I think this filtration process or something, filtration for petroleum, where different fuels separate at different heat levels, right? So it does not happen at a random heat. X amount of heat, petrol will separate. Then Y amount of heat, diesel will separate. Something like that, right? So a more familiar kind of an example given. So in the process description as well, you have to visualize the complete process. You cannot have only bits and bits and parts of it, right? You have to visualize it completely, and then it will work stepwise. It is actually like a narrative. By narrative, I mean it describes things and minute details. Let's say they are written, process descriptions are written as if they are happening. So it should be written in the present tense. And it usually begins and ends with the same point. Let's say, press the start button, feed in the raw product, extract the finished product, press the stop button, right? For any machinery or any process to happen. So is this statement true or false? The first step of technical description is defining the object and processes that are being described. You can share your answer in the chat box. Okay, we've got a few answers that say true. So now let me do a little revision. It could not, the statement is false. This is not true. The first step is not defining but naming. Did not I tell you in the very beginning, you have to name the object, you have to name the process. Otherwise, what are you talking about? That blue colored thing, that yellow colored thing, that white colored thing, you cannot do that. So in technical description, the very first thing that you need to do is you have to give it a name, right? So that is why this statement is false. So this is all about technical description. Do we have any queries, any questions? Do we have any queries, questions? Seems that we don't have a query or a question, so that we can. So now we can move on to our ritual of the quiz. Right? I'll paste the link of the quiz here so that you can attempt today's quiz. So now you can have the link to the quiz. You can start attempting your quiz now. Excellent. I can see 8 of you have already attempted it. We'll wait 2-3 minutes for the others to also complete the test. I can see most of you have almost completed it. Now I'll take the attendance for the day. So it's 18 series, 14. I'm taking the attendance for the day. You can type yes in the chat box. 18 series, 14. Yeah, okay. Dharmesh is there. Yes, Dharmesh. Now I'm talking about the 19 series, enrollment number 1.
Basma.
Enrollment number 2,
Yes, ma'am.
3,
Yes, ma'am.
4,
Yes, ma'am.
5, enrollment number 5, Viraj is not there.
Yes, ma'am.
6,
5 number, ma'am.
yeah, 5 is present, 6 is present now. 7,
Yes, ma'am. 7.
8, 9,
Yes, ma'am.
10,
Yes, ma'am.
11, 12, Bhavik,
Yes, ma'am. His mic is not working.
okay. 13, 14,
Yes, ma'am.
15,
Yes, ma'am.
16, Priyanka Ba Jadeja, 17,
Yes, ma'am.
18,
Yes, ma'am.
19, 21,
Yes, ma'am.
22, and 23.
Yes, ma'am. 23, ma'am. Yes.
22.
Yeah, 22, 23 both are present.
Hello.
Absent numbers are 16 and 20. So there are two people absent, 16 and 19. Now what I'll be doing is you'll be receiving an email that I'm sharing a Google folder with you. So I'll be sharing a Google folder where you have to write or you have to share a Google document with the technical description of any object of your choice. Please remember this units carry maximum weightage in terms of exam. Most of the times this unit 1, unit number 2 and 3 are more practical in nature. So in the exam, they might not ask you the theory, or the weightage of asking theory would be less than the weightage of asking the practical aspect of it. Let's say I'll also share last year's question paper, winter 2019 question paper, so you can view it over there. So please check your institute email ID for an email from me regarding the sharing of this Google folder, where you have to submit all your assignments, all your work that you do for our subject, you have to submit over there. When I say you have to write it, it means you cannot copy paste from the internet. Please do not do that. It will not be beneficial. What you can do is you cannot draw a diagram in Google Word. So the diagram you can take from the internet, but the writing should be your own. Now the diagram also, do not take a diagram which cannot draw. Take a simple diagram which you will be able to draw in the exam. I take a diagram like that. So by today 4:30 you will receive an email. You have to go to that Google document or Google folder. The folder will have the name of your class, that is 3EF1, and within that folder you will have a subfolder called technical description. There you have to add a Google document. Fine. If you still have any queries, you can drop a message or a mail to me. I'll be happy to solve your queries regarding this. So that's a technical description. You are supposed to submit the description by the 18th of July 2020. You have to submit it by the 18th of July 2020. That is by this Saturday. When I say this Saturday, it means till 4:30 p.m. Saturday 4:30 p.m. Fine. Thank you, class. Have a nice day.